Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Know Your Gear QA Live number 214. I need an echo machine. Echo 14. I don't know. That'd be lame, but I still like it. I hope you guys had a great half week. I did a show Wednesday for what we call European friendly time zones. So I try to put one of those in every once in a while where I do it at a different time of the week, different time of the day to be included as the other people that can't make it. Sometimes everybody just got, other stuff to do, or sometimes they just want to sleep. Depends on where they are in the world. So thank you to everyone who joined me that Wednesday, and of course who asked questions and supported with super chats and all the things you guys do. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And no announcements, but a couple things that everybody needs to know. If you're trying to talk to me, if this is your first live show, if you want to ask me a question or start a subject, if it's directed towards me, do it with a question mark first. That way I know it's to me. Otherwise, please feel free to talk amongst yourselves. And also, if you're watching the rebroadcast, I take and timestamp the subjects that we cover. And otherwise, if you're watching it or listening to it as a podcast, please sit back and enjoy, as always. It's funny. I always say that. I just realized I always say that, but if you're listening on the podcast, so I'm gonna leave this in for the people who listen to the podcast. You've never heard that before because you guys don't get the intro. If you listen to the podcast, some of the stuff is clipped out of the YouTube version, and it's the intro is cut out. It just goes right into the show. So there you go. I make an announcement every week that no one's ever heard except for the people that doesn't apply to. So sometimes you have to think about that stuff. All right. What do we got? We got stuff. We got questions. We got comments. We got things to talk about. I'm going to actually start the first comment thing to talk about, which is on Wednesday's show. I brought up the subject about Mesa Boogie retailers and how they're starting to disappear, right? And I bought a Mesa Boogie amp, and I was going to my normal normal purchasing places, and they no longer carry Mesa Boogie. So thanks to so many of you who reached out and with some information. Some of you guys said you talked to some stores, and I got your information, I got your emails, and I talked to some stores. And what's great is all of the stories are lining up. So here is the most current, I don't want to say rumor, but piece of information that is as verified as we can have it. It's verified by the people, us, our community, is that Mesa Boogie, for whatever reason, has decided that the retailers, to continue to be a Mesa Boogie dealer, they have to, I've heard triple, I've heard just $250,000, whatever it is, the buy-in to continue to be a Mesa Boogie dealer has increased. And that's why a lot of dealers have backed off because, hey, it's a lot more money to invest, but also there's a lot of concerns about how viable amps are. If you're a retailer, how many amps do you want in your store? I don't disagree with that logic. If I was still doing retail, I would probably put more inventory into guitars. Things are easier to ship and more unique in a world of the internet. Unique things definitely can command more money than something as easy as everyone's got the same product in a box. I would not want to be an online retailer with the most common thing. I would want something as unique as I can. So that's the go. I just wanted to share that. So if you've noticed, that's what's going on with the Mesa Boogie dealers is they were told that they have to pony up some cash to continue to be one. I don't know if that's a BC Rich 581 says, so Gibson screws a little guy. What a surprise. And again, I don't, I'd like to say I don't have an opinion or I don't have an iron in this fire. I do. It's not that I agree or disagree, because that's a valid point. It's, I don't know what I think of this. I think it was inevitable. So it's not about whether I agree with it or not. I don't agree with that logic. I would love to live in a world where loyalty would mean something. I can't even say loyalty means something again because it's been gone for a long time. I wish loyalty meant something. I wish selling a manufacturer's product for 2 decades and paying those manufacturer's employees meant something, but it just doesn't. So there you go. It's yeah. So like BC Rich 581 said, the little guy gets screwed again. I don't even think it's a little guy. I think it's just, you have to do what's best for you. My only suggestion, which, it's worth what it's worth. If I was a retailer right now poised with having to triple up my buy-in for an expensive amp line company, I would say what I would always say. There's a lot of things to sell people. There's a lot of products, right? And there you go. So hopefully, I don't know. There you go. That's what I got to say. Like I said. All right. A couple questions about the Bad Cat amp behind me. It's right there. Look at that. One shot. Look, like I'm mastering the Vanna White. I don't know what it is. Same camera, same rig, same situation, but yet at this angle towards the amps, I can figure out left. Oh, maybe I can't. Yeah, left from right. Like, I get it. But when I come at the other angle, even though everything's the same, I can't figure out what I'm pointing out. So, Bad Cat, yes. I have two Bad Cat amps here. And I have the hand-wired and the PC board version. And I am working through them right now so I can work on the video. I'm going to be doing a video of both the Bad Cat. This is the Bad Cat Club 40R. And I have, like I said, this is the I'm looking at, I think this is the hand-wired one. I had to look twice. So this is a hand-wired one, but I have the, so this is about $2,000. And then I also have their $1,300 one. Both are made in the USA, both made in California. So one's hand-wired, one's not. And I will be doing a video and in a unique YouTube experience that many people don't get privileged to on YouTube anymore. I will be telling you in the video, not only which one do I like the most, which one I'm going to keep. So there you go. So there you go. You know, a lot of times, you end a video with, let me know what you think in the captions down below and the comments down below. And everybody's like, oh, but which one did you like? And you don't tell. I try to tell when I can, but a lot of times it's hard if I don't have, like I said, if something's going back to a company, if I'm not keeping it. But in this case, I'm going to be keeping one of these amps and I'm going to let you know which one and why. So hopefully that will help you guys when you're making a decision. I'd like to tell you this. This is a cool story. I decided I was going to buy a Bad Cat amp, and I went on to Guitar Center. They're the main dealer for Bad Cat online, and I went on their website and I was looking at the hand-wired and I was looking at what I thought was an import amp. I thought $1,299 was the import version, $2,000 was the main USA version. That's what I thought I was looking at, and if I can do it, I always try to buy the USA version, or just the truth. That's why most of the amps behind me are made in UK or made in the US. If I can, I try to support my country. Like I said, I try to support my country when I can. I try to support my state when I can. And I try to support my city where I can, right? So anyways, I was trying to figure out which one. And so at the last minute, I go, what am I doing? I know John, the owner of Bad Cat. He's on my phone. I can text him. So I texted John. I said, which one's better, John? Just tell me. I'll buy it right now. The hand-wired or the PC board one, or which I thought was the import. And he said, well, none of them are imports. They're both made in the USA. We make everything here in California. So made in the USA. And I said, oh, you mean so $1,300 is made in the USA? And he's like, yeah. And I go, okay, so why do I want to pay $700 more for the hand-wired one? And his answer was the coolest answer I've ever gotten from anyone. He says, I don't know, Phil, why don't I send you both and you check them out and you tell me. What? Best answer ever, John. Thank you again, John. At Bad Cat. So because there's so few videos, in fact, I think probably the best detailed video I saw on Bad Cat was the Andertons one where they went through the lineup. I want to be as detailed as I can because, like I said, if you're looking at these amps, I think, hey, man, do you need to spend the $700 or not? We'll figure it out together. Okay. What else? We got finally subjects to talk about. Okay. Andrea said, he says, hey, you gave me the confidence to call in and ask for a deal. And I got $200 off a combo amp, new amp day soon. You know, what's great, Andres? That's an interesting way you phrase that. No one's ever phrased it that way before. It's usually a thank you, and I appreciate the thank you, but the thank you is usually in the piece of information I've given you. Like, hey, if you touch tubes, they're hot. And everybody's like, thanks for telling me that, Phil. Now I don't burn my finger. I don't have a reference, but you get the idea. You're the first one to say confidence. First, I applaud that. I love honest language. I love it when somebody's telling me, you know what I mean, not only the honest truth, but also, you know, it's hard to take down your guards. Confidence, interesting. I sometimes I forget that it's not that it takes confidence to do that, but yeah, it's a little weird asking for something. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not something that happens in other places besides the music industry much. Now I say besides, it's not entirely true. My wife bought a new stove, and I said, "Do you want to get a new microwave too?" And she's like, "Yes." When we were there, we asked her like, "Hey, if we buy both and have them delivered and everything, will you give us a deal?" And they gave us a deal. So, because like I said, all you can do is ask, "Hey, if I give you more money, will you let me keep some of my money?" And they did. So I'm glad. Not only am I glad you got the deal, but also I'm glad that you phrased that. Like I said, not only do you need the information, but sometimes, yeah, you need the spark of not so much confidence, but yeah, the spark to say it's okay to do it. So I'm glad. And like I say all the time, guys, especially this weekend, it's Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. And I know other countries have Memorial Days. I just don't know if it's this weekend. Memorial Day, I do this every year on the podcast. I remind everybody that Memorial Day is just to remember the soldiers and the families of the soldiers that have lost their lives in some of the horrible wars we've had in our histories as all countries, and not so much to honor veterans. Veterans Day would be a day that, you know, hey, if anyone says, hey, happy Veterans Day to me, I appreciate that. But Memorial Day is not for veterans per se. It's for the people we've lost, and to honor the people who have lost people who have. I know it's weird. To me, it's a weird thing, man. That's something I can't reconcile, is the Memorial Day sale. I know we have a Memorial Day barbecues around our country. I'm okay with that. I'm essentially Irish, you know, Scottish. So I get the whole concept of drinking a little bit and having a little fun in a sad situation. However, so I get that, but the sale thing's always been weird. And it's never really been a problem for me until I had this show. And then every year it seems to land this weekend, obviously. Always Friday, it lands before a weekend. It's kind of weird how that worked out. And every year when I talk about Memorial Day, it's weird for me to go, hey, have you checked out the Memorial Day sales? Because it's a weird thing to me. But that being said, there's Memorial Day sales. I want to tell you, I put a link. You're going to hear this all weekend from every YouTube channel. I have a link to the Memorial Day stuff. Click it and give me money. Because money doesn't suck. That's my speech. But realistically, I looked at the more Memorial Day sales out there. Unless you guys have some better suggestions, which I appreciate, I found only one thing that I thought was a good deal out there, and it's the Freidman. I put the link, Freidman Small Box Pedal, which I have the Small Box 50 head, which is freaking awesome. And if you get the pedal, you get that without the sadness of not making a car payment this month. And anyways, it was $199. It's down on sale on Sweetwater for $169. Now, I've seen it on sale on some reverb places too. So again, you don't have to go to Sweetwater, but I'm just letting you know it's on sale. That's legit. I'm buying one this weekend. I just laughed because I just realized I did that wrong. I was supposed to buy it and then tell you. Hopefully you guys won't buy them all up. I'll get one. I'm going to buy one at the end of the show. I'll let you know next week if you guys bought them all up from Sweetwater before the end of the show. But I'm letting you know to do that. If you click that link, it's an affiliate link. You don't want to pay affiliate link. I appreciate it. Not appreciate it. I understand it. Then just go to Sweetwater and check it out, or go see if you can get a price match somewhere else. All of that being said, other than that deal and maybe some of the deals you find, please don't just buy the online deals. It's a racket. There's no deals online that's posted that you can't just get any day of the week for the most part. Even that pedal, if it's on sale for $169, I'm sure you can find it somewhere else for $169 somewhere else. Like I said, like Andra said, talk to people, right? Talking to people always as a deal. In fact, I've learned, not only does that work to get deals, but sometimes you make friends. Even cooler. So, all right. That's a lot of talk on the Memorial Day stuff. Okay, so I'm sure you guys want to talk about more gear stuff. Hold on. You guys are talking about inventory and stock. Look, okay, so this is a good subject to talk about too. So yes, a lot of you are saying the Guitar Centers are looking stocked up. They are. They are definitely getting stocked up. We're seeing the inventory catch up. As we see, and this is exactly what we kind of talked about on this show and over the last few months. And the prediction would be, my prediction's been loosely based on how many people go outside from after COVID. And it looks like right now it's happening, especially in the United States, and most of the United States, people are going outside. Summer's happening. People are going outside, and what's going to happen is I'm seeing it now. I'm not seeing I'm not saying it's a crash. I never said that. I'm never saying it now because I don't think it is going to be. What I think you're going to see is I think we're going to see a receding effect of purchases because, hey man, it's time to take the kids outside. Take the family outside, get outside and do some stuff, go someplace, maybe see your relatives you haven't seen. I'm not, I think that's what's going to be happening. And so basically what's going to be happening is we're going to see the sales decline, which is what I'm seeing, not by a massive amount by any means, but definitely a withdrawal of sales. You can see it. And then on top of that, they're catching up. So we're going to see stuff fill in. The one thing I will tell you, the things I've been paying attention to, the things I pay attention to just because of the channel and because I want to be like on the pulse of what's going on. What I'm seeing real quickly happen is the cheap guitars are coming in and they're coming in fast and they're not leaving. So everywhere I go, everywhere I look, whether I'm online or in stores, I'm seeing lots of inexpensive guitars. I said cheap earlier. I know sometimes that offends people. Inexpensive guitars. And that means exactly what we know it means. Affordable entry-level guitars, affordable student-grade guitars, affordable hobbyist style guitars, but definitely more of them than there was before for sure. So yeah, we're definitely seeing that stuff. So yeah, you're going to see that come in. Whether or not that affects the used guitar prices, I don't think so. I think used guitar prices are, I think it's slowing down for sure, but I think a lot of used guitar prices are holding because there's more to just available inventory for prices of instruments to come down. You have to have people not willing to let them go. You know what I mean? So if let's say there was 5,000 guitars for sale used, and that's not enough, and it doubles even to 10,000, you could say, okay, well, the prices have to come down because there's more inventory. But if everyone's riding I got a stimulus check and the company I work for gave bonuses because record year last year wave, they're not going to be so inclined to want to take a bath on this stuff they're selling. And that's what I'm noticing too. A lot of people are just like, here's the price. And then you're like, well, it's not selling. You're basically saying that you want a deal and they don't need to sell it to you. So there you go. Okay. What's the first question we're going to hit? Let's see. I don't think I've done one yet. Oh, Nick, great question, man. Great in the idea that's never been asked before. At this point, 200 and something episodes, 40 questions per episode or more. It's tough to ask me something that hasn't been asked. His question was, hey, Phil, do you adjust the pole pieces on your humbuckers or just leave them alone? Flat, I should say. Do you leave them flat? I don't adjust any pole pieces on any pickups. And I know, humbuckers, but some single coils have adjustable pole pieces as well. And P90s, right? I don't adjust any pole pieces unless I hear a problem that I'm like, okay, maybe I need to adjust to do that. I find that adjusting the pole pieces only affects tone minorly. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. Sometimes it's more noticeable in different pickups than others. It's not something I do actively. So there you go. It's like I said, when I'm playing something, I try to listen for the problems more so than see the problems. So sometimes, like I've had this problem. So in your vein of your question is, I've bought a guitar, maybe new or used, and the pole pieces were all like, not like a single coil where they're staggered, but I mean like literally like somebody's just adjusted like all of them zigzaggy weird or really high. Like I had that once happen where I got a guitar, or you could tell the person who had it before me didn't know that the pickup's raised and lowered. So the pickup was sunk down too low and they raised all the screw pieces as high as they could to get the pickup closer. Or maybe they just thought that was cool. I don't know. And then, and the opposite. I've seen them sink the pickups, the pull pieces down. I've seen all that stuff. And sometimes I just adjust that for aesthetically purposes. You know, like, oh, that looks weird. Let's put them flat. But most of the time, if I don't hear a problem, if I'm not hearing an issue, because a lot of great sounds come from beautiful accidents. You know, right? Happy accidents. It's true. It's just sometimes there's something you play guitar and it's great. In fact, I'm superstitious, if you could say that that's what you would call it. But it's definitely, if I pick up an instrument and it plays or sounds great, I don't want to touch anything. There's enough of those stories that if you grew up like I did, reading all the Guitar Worlds every month, there are so many stories that will freak you out about musicians basically saying, this is the greatest amp ever, greatest guitar ever. And then I changed the strings and it sounded horrible. That's a big extreme example, but you get the idea, this idea. And I've experienced that, exactly that, with both amps and guitars, mostly guitars, where it was great. And then I changed something because I'm like, oh, let's make it a little better. And then it was horrible. And then I put it back and it never felt the same or sounded the same. So yeah, I don't adjust stuff if I don't have to. There you go. All right. Let's do some, let's hit a super chat. I've been letting them hang for a little bit. So the first super chat of the day was from David, who said, early drink. I'm going to drink this weekend for sure. It says, early drink on me, going to be buying a Warwick Infinity 5. Nice. Their custom shops say I can have any wood specifications. I don't know where to start. Dude, and so you know, I have never in my life seen anything anywhere on this planet close to the beautiful wood inventory that is at Warwick. There is nothing like that. So when they say you can have any wood, they mean any. It's insane. If there's a wood that is the most endangered wood ever, it's there. If it's exotic, it's there. If it's unique, obviously all those things kind of mean unique, right? It's there. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if we went there and they're like, hey, we have a piece of wood that was, blessed by 3 monks and found in the middle of the Himalayas or whatever, done, whatever. So yeah, it's a problem. When I had my Warwick built, my problem was not that problem. So, I had the luxury, the amazing luxury of going down to the first floor of the factory, sitting down with Marcus and he pulls up his computer and he's like, okay, let's build this bass. And we built my custom Warwick. My Warwick was as custom can get. And, I literally did nothing that I was supposed to do. Like I said, I think he set aside like an hour to design the bass, and I think we did it in 5 minutes. I was like, okay, blue and the lightest wood you got and 32-inch scale, done. And he's like, and that was it. So, yeah. So spend some time, have some fun. They have beautiful pieces of wood for sure. Diddy Obe. Love that. Diddy Ob says, hey Phil, I just bought a Fender 75th anniversary commemorative Strat. Love everything about it! ! So that means he really loves everything about it. He says, any tips to keep the gold plating from wearing out? Best regards. Yes. Wear a sock over your hand. No, that won't even work. Nothing. There's nothing you can do. And the only thing worse is newer guitars are even worse than old guitars, and old guitars were horrible. Gold plating, if you're lucky, they gold plate on brass, or you know what I mean? They have brass underneath, and sometimes, but that's usually not the case. Nope, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing. Don't play it. I don't recommend that. No, man, there's nothing. I've never seen any gold hardware make it. That's why so many players don't like gold, because they just don't like gold. They hate Mr. T. I don't know what their deal is, but they don't like gold on their guitars. But a lot of players don't like gold just specifically because they know it wears off so easy. So yeah, everything I could tell you that would help you kind of make it last would be the worst advice ever, because it's going to mean not playing it as much. Enjoy the guitar. If it bugs you that much, if it freaks you out that much, keep in mind the gold that's going to wear off the most is that bridge, more so than tuning keys or anything else. I mean, definitely the bridge. Buy another bridge. And if it's important to you, because look, if it's important to you, the guitar stays original, and so in 20 years you have this original guitar and you want to play it and you want to enjoy it, but you also want to be perfect. Well, here's what you do. You buy another bridge, you put the other bridge in there, take the original out, put that in the case. And if you ever sell it, you put the original back. You could do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That way it's all original when you sell it. And it's new looking. Or you can do what I've done, which was a very hard thing to do. Convince yourself you like worn out gold hardware. So that's what I just did. I just finally one day said, oh my God, Gunky Zip said Mr. T doesn't wear gold anymore? What? I'm sure with inflation, the gold around that guy's neck, it's probably a house. A nice house, I would imagine. That's why. He'd be like, you can't walk around with that much gold anymore. Somebody will kill you. Even if you look like Mr. T, they'll come at you. Vimps69 exclamation point. I like that your sign-on has an exclamation point in it. Says, Phil just received a guitar I bought on Reverb and it reeks of smoke. What can I do? I like the guitar, but it's stinking up the place. You know, this is a question I get from time to time about cleaning out smells and doing stuff. And I don't know. What I always suggest is, I'm going to suggest two things besides anybody that might have a good suggestion in the comments. First, check out some cool cleaning YouTube channels, right? Because that's what I would do. I would just go to a cleaning. Don't think in guitars. It doesn't matter if it's a guitar. Somebody asked me about guitar cases, guitars. It don't matter. You can, just go and find out what they got to say. But there is a couple things you can do. You can put things I've seen people do that have had mild success, besides, like people try to Febreze stuff and stuff like that. But one thing you can do for smoke that might help a little is you can put it in a case or a box and put some baking soda in it. Not on the guitar, but physically the thing of baking soda. But keep in mind, this advice is I'm just poking in the dark of what I've seen people do. Clean it, of course, and also let it air out. You know what I mean? That helps too. It depends on how bad it's impregnated into the finish and so it's tough. The good news I can tell you is it does dissipate over time and it will get better, but to get it to absolutely not stinky is tough. It's such a big deal. It's why almost every other listing has kept in smoke-free home. So, and the other question I get all the time is about pet odor, like urine and stuff. And same thing, I would go and check out cleaning supply channels and information too. I just don't know. It's not something you deal with too much. In a store, like when stuff would come in on trade, we would just clean it up the best we could. And basically we had it, it was easy because we weren't going to sell it online. Somebody come in the store and they'd be like, woo, that thing smells like smoke. And you're like, yep. And then some guy would walk in one day and go, I don't know what the problem is. I love it. And then he bought it. Or maybe that was a girl. I don't know. Helen? Yes. The guitar is yours. Anyways, cleaning it, there's a couple things. Other than using standard cleaning supplies. Aaron Peacock says, hey, Aaron, what's up? He says, hey, Phil, thanks for the content. Beer's on me. Woo! I think I mentioned this. It's a carb-free seltzers. It's very disappointing. The irony, you can't drink beer because you're fat, but beer makes you fat. It's a really vicious circle. So now it's carb-free seltzers for a little while. Got to behave again. All right. It's my sadness coming out as laughter. Anyways, Greg says, what a week. 2 shows and a holiday weekend. See, it's great. I enjoyed doing the extra show this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Plus, it was new guitar week. I had the Kiesel. That was really cool. Thank you guys for everybody who made a comment on that video. Like I said, that was a video I was like, well, we'll see how this goes. This is the craziest guitar I ever did, and I'm really, really happy. It really fixed a lot of things for me. I've been chasing this Phantom 80s shred machine guitar for so many years that I even on the channel, you guys have seen it. I bought so many guitars that were just nothing I loved other than the aesthetic. You know what I mean? And I kept doing stuff like that. And then I finally said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to order a custom guitar that shuts that down. And I really feel that way. It's like, and this time I mean it. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Where is, and we have Lidve. Lidve. Thank you, man. FT600 and a Rockfist decal. Is that the Rockfist? Yeah. That's I Love You. That's the Rockfist. Some of you guys love the Rockfist. Some of you guys hate it. All right. What else? We gotta. I want to grab some non-super chats. Nathan's in the house with a wrench. Nathan, I thought you were on your way to Arizona. You're not driving on it, right? You're not like. Right now, I'm picturing Nathan about 75 miles an hour in the middle of the desert on his phone. I hope that's not the case, Nathan. If it is, please pull over. And if you're pulled over, please turn this off and drive. Either way, be safe. Yeah, Amanda's, we're talking about the stinky sound. She's saying check ingredients to make sure it doesn't affect the finish. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's tough. It's tough to give advice. I like things, if I'm going to try to take the stink out of something, I like stuff that doesn't come in contact with the thing you're trying to take the smell out. That's why I said, like, you could put baking soda. Like, for instance, I guess if I had your problem not knowing anything, because the first thing I would do, like if it came out of the box and I'd be like, oh man, when we do this, first thing I might do is take it into, I have a shop, which is nice. So I can take it down to the shop. And I'd put it in a guitar stand, and I'd probably put a big fan on it, and I'd put some baking soda next to it and see if that helped absorb some of the odor and of course, kind of air out the instrument to see if that helps. Again, I don't think that helps, but at least there you go. What else? Wait, I was looking for another comment. Again, like I said, if you're talking to me, put a question mark first. That way I know you're talking to me. Okay, so Ruben's question, it says, hey, Phil, it says, I know you're a massive music fan and obviously a huge guitar nerd, but if you could buy a guitar off one of your music heroes, who would it be and why? That's an interesting question. I mean, it's more focused towards me, but I understand the question. So whose guitar would I want? That's really what it comes down to. What famous guitar player's guitar would I want? Especially like in the sense, not only to play it, but maybe just to have it, memorabilia kind of thing. It's funny. The answer is weird, and here's why it's weird. My favorite guitar players are definitely like Monty Montgomery, Bob Schneider. You know what I mean? I love them. Some of my favorite bands are Bowling for Soup, and I love Alter Bridge. I mean, I listen to Alter Bridge and Bowling for Soup at least once a day, every day. Somehow I get 1-2 tracks out a day, somehow listening to it. I love, like I said, punk music. That all being said, I know what guitar I would pick. I'd probably pick one of Steve Vai's guitars because, again, it's kind of a strange thing. I don't play that style of music so much because I don't know how to play that virtuoso type music. It's one of those things, kind of like that Kiesel guitar, what that was about. There's the guitar I like to look at and how it makes me feel looking at it, and then there's a guitar I would like to play, right? So I would probably, instead of picking the Smart Choice, which is one of the instruments from someone who really inspires me to play music and then try to emulate, and play their music or play my music, but with their instrument, I would probably pick someone's guitar I just thought was look really, really cool. And it would be probably like a Steve Vai guitar or maybe one of George Lynch's guitars, but probably not. It would probably be Steve Vai. It would probably be something like that. And the reason I say that, the answer is because I have a Steve Vai Gem Floral Gem, which is, it's a pricey guitar to own, especially because it keeps going up in value. So, I mean, and I don't play it. It's like literally like I pull it out and I strum it a few times and I put it on the wall and stare at it. And I say, yep, I still love it. And then I put it away. So I would say having a real one from Steve Vai would be even like cooler in that concept. But like I said, I can't say that's the music I would play. The irony too of that, here's the irony. The irony of this is the musicians that I like, see, now are we having this, I feel like we're having a session now. Like I should lay down and tell you all my problems and fears. The irony of the music that I really, really connect with is, obviously I mentioned Bowling for Soup. The singer and the guitar player of Bowling for Soup played like the same guitar forever. They don't play different guitars. Monty Montgomery plays one beat up acoustic. Bob Schneider, I think I've seen him with a couple different guitars. So the irony is the music that I like, well, I like all music, but I mean, the music I follow the most and listen to the most, those guitar players are not even gear people. It's weird. And it's probably because I appreciate that about them. Trust me, and I love talking about gear and I love all this, but then I think you wouldn't be a sane person if every day, well, not every day, but at least once a week you woke up and said, wouldn't it be cool if I just had one amp and one guitar and I never thought about any of this stuff? That'd be great too. Like, I like that idea too. Like I said, and I'm sure, well, I know for a fact, I've talked to friends that have one guitar, one amp, and they love it, but then they go, I wish I knew more about gear and I'd buy more of it. I just don't have time or the desire to learn and see what I should be trying. Okay. John says, what a with a soup of what? It's bowling for soup. If you're old, they have a new song about getting old. It's great. It's called Getting Old Sucks. When you watch the punk rock band that you liked, I can't say, well, I guess I could say as a kid, make a song about getting old. It's a humbling experience. Especially when I enjoyed it so much. I like the lyrics. All right. We need to get back on track. On to gear and guitars and amps and pedals and things. I saw a question, but it jumped. Hold on a second. I'm going to look for it for a second because I didn't. Okay, I lost it. That's what happens. I'm sorry I am taking so long, but I am looking. Huh. I don't understand the question. It comes from Smiling 420. It says, where did you get the Sheldon in the background? Oh, it says 212 on the bottom and head on top. Perfect. I think he means shelving. See, we're all typing with phones and computers. It's all crazy. We have to decipher. It's like a Mad Libs game. Sheldons. Those are Sheldons. Shelves. These are IKEA shelves because, like of most everybody, I take my money like an idiot down to IKEA. And because, no good decisions happen at the IKEA. That's my official statement, but it doesn't stop me from going there. Anyways, this is shelving you can buy in the garage section, if there's such a thing, but that's where you would find it online, at the IKEA. And I was building out, this is my closet. I'm standing in front of a closet. and because that's why it's recessed. It's in a closet. And I was going to build out the closet and put amps in there, and I thought that's cool. And I was on my way to the Home Depot, and as I was on the way to Home Depot, I told my wife, I said, the sad thing is I could probably go to IKEA and buy the shelves cheaper than I buy the materials and my whole afternoon. And so we went to the IKEA and we walked through, which takes 6 to 7 hours to get through because it's a maze. And if you don't complete the maze correctly, they don't let you out of the store and they won't sell you one of those danishes. So I luckily successfully navigated the maze of the IKEA and got the Danish, which is good because that means you win. And anyways, the shelving was there, and literally, I'm not exaggerating, was probably about $30 less than just the raw materials at Home Depot. And it was adjustable, and I can adjust it and change it and do whatever I want. There it is. And I didn't have to paint it because I was going to have to paint the shelving black, and it was already black. So Al John says, nothing wrong with IKEA. Well, it's like there's evils we have to live with. Amazon, IKEA. I say have to. I don't know, but we tell everybody they're evil, and then we go there. So I think I'm trying to say I'm a hypocrite. IKEA is evil, and I give them my money. Yes. Funny enough, Wild Wolf, here's a really funny story. So he says, IKEA stuff is terrible. He's not wrong. And he says, you pay for what you get. China stuff, all from IKEA. This is crazy. I keep going to IKEA. And when but every time I've gone to IKEA, it's just the weirdest luck. But it's true. I go and I'm like going to buy it. I get the box and I go, yeah, same thing. Like more cheap China stuff, right? And I pull it out and it's never made in China. No, it's always made in India or Vietnam. Everything's always like I always go, I buy more Chinese stuff and literally it's always made somewhere else. So I go, oh, well, and I know. So there you go. Just a little tidbit for you. Okay. I like the IKEA Benton. That was James Johnson. IKEA Benton. David Lee says, Phil needs an IKEA affiliate code now. Yes. I guess that would be great. Okay, so Robert M., I want to answer this question. He says, hey, what's your thoughts on many of the smaller custom cab builders, Emperor, Atlas, etc.? Should you splurge on another custom one or get one of the big names, Mesa Orange? Here's what I will tell you. The reason I want to answer the question is I really don't have any, real suggestion whether or not you should do that or not. Obviously, my cabinet right here is a Mojo Tone. I have that. I also have a Marshall behind me, Marshall cab. What I would suggest to you, though, is that you should buy a cabinet. That's what I wanted to answer the question. I wanted to answer this question to tell you, regardless of what you think, I think we're about to get shell-shocked with cabinet prices if this doesn't get fixed with the wood and metal issue in, at least in the United States. And yeah, it's going to be a problem. So, and like I said, most manufacturers I've talked to are said they're waiting to see if the prices come down at the end of the year. But like I said, doesn't matter. I think what I've really kind of internalized here is prices aren't coming down. So if you're going to get a cabinet, especially speaker cabinets and stuff, I would get them now. They're not getting any cheaper. They're only going to get it more expensive. Not that they would normally get cheaper anyways, but I think it's going to be harder to find those deals is what I'm saying. Okay. Landon says, my amps sit on IKEA bathroom benches. Stole that idea from you a couple years ago. I have them still, those bathroom benches. They're in the other room now. Like I said, the room I'm in is very small, and that's why those worked great. And then one day I was looking at this closet where I was storing all this cases and stuff, and I thought, why don't I just put the amps in there? And it literally made this room that's really tiny less tiny. So it worked out. By the way, Landon, I don't know if you got my response. I responded to your email about your guitar you did for your video. So if you didn't get the response, email me back. And if you did, I hope that, I don't know if it was useful. Okay. Sean Brooks says, hey, Phil, Wednesday you mentioned you ordered a Tone King amp and have been waiting for over a year. Yes. Which Tone King amp did you order? The Imperial. I ordered an Imperial head and cabinet. So I ordered that in January of 2020. I want to say, I don't know the date. I want to say June or January 18th. It might have been January 18th. Doesn't matter. So I ordered it, yes, in January of 2020. So it's coming up on a year and a half. So who knows when I heard this is a couple months ago. Last I heard a couple months ago, it's going to be a couple months. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah. But so yeah, there you go. So yeah, a year and a half. COVID's been fun, like I said. So there you go. Let's see. Landon, I saw your response. I don't need to read it, but I saw it. Let's see. John says, a year refund. Goodbye. Thanks. I can't get a refund. Here's the problem. Sometimes in my world, in my business of the YouTube-ness and other businesses, I trade. So I traded. So in that case, in that particular situation, what I did was I traded my services, which I've already performed. Take that for whatever you want in that explanation. So there's no way to refund me for my services. So what happened was, if you guys remember, I went and did a ton of videos down at that facility in January of 2020. I interviewed Mike Sodano. I did Steve Ice. I drove down there and filmed a bunch of content before NAMM. And then what happened was, to film that content, besides going there and filming all the content and making the videos and putting them out, which you guys saw and enjoyed, and thank you for everybody who supports the channel by watching that stuff. It was 2 days before the NAMM show. So then what happened was I had to go and buy a hotel room and stay in LA for a day to wait for the NAMM show, right? Because it was early. So I did all that stuff. And then what we did when I was there was I picked out everything to make a custom Imperial amp and custom colors and custom stuff. And custom meaning they make all these cool colors. So I picked out the colors I wanted, I picked everything I want, and then they were going to build it. And then what happened was, you guys won't believe this, it's crazy. COVID happened. So COVID happened, and then, obviously they were shut down for a while, and then they were back. And then when they were back, they had to fill all the back orders. So look, if it takes 2 years, it takes 2 years. I mean, essentially we're done. But also, like I said, I've said this before, I'm not a hypocrite. Well, maybe I am, but I don't want to be a hypocrite. How about that? Does that count for something? So I said this last year in the middle of COVID. I said it probably last week. I'll keep saying it. I know it gets old hearing the COVID excuse. I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it, but it's a valid excuse. It is. So if it was any other time and I had an amp and I've been waiting a year and a half, you would be hearing me light them up going, what the hell? And how could you not build an amp? But in today's world of who knows when they get wood and COVID and shutdowns, it just takes forever long it is. I was just telling you so you guys knew, because I get that question a lot. Have I ever thought about getting a Tone King amp? Yeah, I did. That's what I decided to do in that exchange. I said I wanted a Tone King amp. And then like Grumpy Mike's presented with a bill. I'm not going to do that. Look, like I said, there's no what do you call it? Foul stench in the air of anything. It's just literally, it's COVID, man. So, I'll keep giving people passes on COVID on everything I can until it doesn't make sense not to, because there's 924 of you watching. We're all hanging out, and not a single one of you have ever dealt with COVID before like me. So we're all just playing this by ear, and we're going to keep going. Besides, I have stuff. So, it's hard for you, I mean, I understand. It's my money. I work for it, all this stuff, but you guys understand what I'm saying too. We'll be as nice as we can. We'll figure it out. Yeah, Aljon says supply chain issues and transportation are real issues. Well, think about this. Aljon's not only is he correct, but it's a double whammy, right? First, you have the shutdown, so then you have a labor issue where there's no labor making anything. Then you have a boom, which is great, except for, now you have to catch up and try to do that to keep your business going. But now the supply chain issue. So yeah, it's a perfect storm of crap. Let's just say that. Judy H says, what lighting are you using behind the amps in the shelves? Cheap lighting. I buy those really crappy at Home Depot aluminum can lights, and then I buy the blue LEDs and screw it in there, and I put them behind the amps, and for no reason then other than I had 2 failed attempts on Amazon. This show is going so weird today. So I had 2 failed attempts on Amazon to buy lighting. I bought some lighting that was supposed to be cool, and I put it behind there, and it's the Amazon thing, right? It shows up, and it's sometimes not what you thought it was, and sometimes it's... So I just said, screw it. I went down and bought a bunch of blue light bulbs and stuck them in some metal can things that I bought at Home Depot and stuck them in there. And hey, it makes blue lighting. And I did it just to break it up. Not for YouTube videos, just when I'm standing here playing the amps. It's not so boring. So, Adrian says, not IKEA lighting. No. So, IKEA makes lighting. Isn't that funny? I don't know why I don't buy IKEA lighting. It's probably because, I don't know. I was going to make a joke, but I don't think I should make fun of IKEA. I obviously buy from them, and there you go. We need to get back to guitar questions. Pedro says, looking into a DiMarzio rail type stacked humbucker, which are some of your favorites? I'm considering the Chopper. That's my favorite, by the way, the Chopper. Currently, I have a Seymour Duncan hot rail, and I'm just not digging it. I played rock and some metal. I like the Chopper. I can't tell you it's the best one, just the one I use all the time. The Tone Zone. I mean, they make all the versions of their normal pickups. They have the Tone Zone one. They have the what's the one that's what's the one that like started it all? I want to say True Tone. That's not it. Why am I spacing this? I forget. Chopper. I'm just going to say the Chopper. I know that's a horrible answer, but that's the one I like. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, if I had a guitar, all my guitars that have the mini Seymour Duncan or DiMarzio pickups, have the Chopper. I don't know what it is about that pickup. I just like it. I like the mids. Like I said, it's everything I like in a pickup like that. And I have a bunch of the other ones, and I tried them, and they're all fine. No issues, but I like the Chopper. So that's what I'm going to say. Lance says, hey, Phil, I bought your Affirma bass. You did? Hey, what's up, Lance? Let me tell you. Okay, I want to hear what he says, and then I'll tell you the story. It says, from a small music store in Arizona. That was called Zim's Guitars. He says, I just put flats on it, and I'm even further in love. Yeah, flats are great on that guitar because it's got the piezo system. So Lance, I met Lance and his buddy at the Zim's Music. I had took some guitars, as I told you guys a couple weeks ago. I took a bunch of guitars and stuff down to Zim's and sold it to Zim. Well, he can just sell it, and because I needed to clear out the shop area. The Affirma bass, the Ibanez Affirma bass, was this bass that I absolutely love, and I bought it. And when I got it, I wanted it for the tone. I wanted it for, the way it plays, but I really wanted it to hang it on the wall and stare at it and put it in the front room. So I put it in the front room, and you guys can Google what the Affirma bass is, phonetically spelled correct, the way it should be. So anyways, my wife says the ugliest thing she ever saw, and she kept taking it out of the front room, and she's like, this is just hideous. So it slowly went into the shop, and then it sat there, and then basically, long story short, I go, okay, it's time for it to go. And then Lance, well, he bought it, so he got it. So congratulations, Lance. It's a great bass. So, and because of that, I only own 3 basses now. That's it. And one of them is behind me, which is my Urge, my Stu-Ham Urge. So I have my Urge, my Warwick, and my Fender original bass that I've had forever. So anyways, yeah, congratulations again. Don likes the True Velvet. We're going back and forth on this DiMarzio pickups. True Velvet's good. I mean, like I said, I like not all, I guess, all the ones I've played of the DiMarzios, but I like the Chopper. Okay. A lot of people like the Super Distortion. I have one of those. It's very nice. You're talking about for mini pickups, though, right? The mini humbuckers. Like for full size, I like Super Distortions for sure. The mini ones, I like them too. It's not my absolute favorite. It's hot. It's a little hotter than the Chopper. Okay. You guys really like talking about IKEA, man. You all need to, you need to widen horizons a little bit. IKEA is not that interesting of subject on any level. I mean, sure, the Swedish meatballs are good, but that's it. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh this screen. And did I do it? I did. Hold on. Chris. Okay, Chris Mo Treble says, I agree with your wife on the Firma bass. So did Ralph, by the way, which made it worse. Everybody hated it. Everybody. Like, I thought it was a work of art. Like, literally, I didn't... Not only did I think it was a great bass, I mean, I literally thought it was a work of art. I thought, like... like if I was a millionaire, this is what I would probably buy and stick on a wall in my mansion. And everybody was like, this is horrible. So that's funny. Okay, let's find another question. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just scanning for a topic, interesting topics and interesting subjects that aren't IKEA. Melody Strong says, "Hey Phil, I love the shows. Thank you, buddy. Or thank you for that." Says, "I have a Katana Mark 250. What do you recommend for a speaker replacement?" So when I had my Mark 250 Katana, I did that. I was like, oh, I'm going to change the speaker out. And I think there's a couple YouTube videos where they did that. I didn't get to watch them, but I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to like, what's the best speaker for your Mark II 50 Katana? And I popped one out and I put in a vintage 30, and then I put in a Greenback Neo Light, and then I put in a Greenback. So Greenback vintage 30, and then the Neo Greenback. And in my humble opinion, I thought the original speaker was the best. And then I go, oh, this would be a good video. And then I go, why? Although it would be nice to hear that from somebody like you just heard right now, as a video, it was absolutely boring to watch. It was like, so I didn't do it. I didn't put it in edit mode and do it. But that was my thing. And it would make sense because that guitar, I'm sure that speaker is not so much voiced as so much an entirely like a guitar speaker. I'm sure it's more like I could be wrong. Again, I'm just guessing, but my guess is it's probably voiced a little bit to just basically take the sounds and amplify them, not so much be part of the sound, but I could be wrong. So, and then Dead Shred says he's recommending the Vintage 30, which is funny because, like I said, great suggestion. And I'm a Vintage 30 fan for sure. So I mean, I don't disagree, but for me, it's not even like he said, if you have the cash, go for the Vintage 30. For me, it wasn't so much the cash because I have Vintage 30s, but it was like I didn't hear enough of an improvement to my ears. I didn't hear enough of improvement to go, well, why keep the Vintage 30 in there? So maybe it made the distortion sound a little sweeter, but it's not that it wasn't better. It just, well, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't worse. I just didn't notice a huge difference in sound. And again, everything's got to make sense financially to some degree. Oh my goodness. You guys are now talking about doing a meetup at the IKEA. You guys should all meet up at the IKEA and tell me how it goes. Andrew Harrison, just because I'm answering questions. Andrew says, what do I reckon to the great guitar build off of 2021? Have you checked out any of the builds? I haven't. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't aware that there was one. Makes sense. Was about this time last year we did the 2020 Great Guitar Build Off. I didn't know. Nothing's come in my YouTube feeds. I don't get to watch as much YouTube videos as I used to. You know what I mean? It's just, what I tend to do, like this show, I tend to find stuff where people are talking and play that in the background while I'm doing stuff, and so much not watch YouTube, but listen. So, but now that you've said that, which is why I wanted to read it to remind myself later, I'll go out there and peck and look and see what's on there. Declan wants to know with a giant red question mark, when do we get to see the Music Nomad Nut Files video, or did I miss it? You didn't miss it. I'm just very thorough. I have done so many guitars now with those Music Nomad Nut Files, and it's literally, there's a difference. I hope you guys understand this. There is a difference when I review a guitar, when I review an amp, when I review a pedal, and when I review a tool. There is a difference between, here is this product, right? So let's say you get a product and I go, this is what it does, and this is what it is. And then I say, here's my 2 cents on that, and then I go. Versus, this is what I use, and this is why I use it. I don't think it's a hard thing to figure out in any videos, that when I'm like, okay, this is something I use, right? Like a 68 Princeton amp. This is an amp I use. I didn't get it to go, oh yeah, everybody here, let's check it out. You guys talked about it. Let's talk about it. I own it, and I tell you guys why I own it, why I like it. The Music Nomad Files, I'm trying to figure out if it's something I'm going to use forever, or I'm just doing the video and the demonstration of it. This has been so perplexing and so much work involved in this that even last night, I was up till late last night working with them, trying to figure that out, because I have been using the same nut files since 2004. The same set. I think I've told you guys this. Stu Mac has sent me the new diamond ones, and they were great in the idea that, yep, I tried them. They were fine. If you guys want a recommendation on them, sure. I enjoyed them, but I didn't stop using my set. What I would like to do before I release the video is be able to tell you in the video, honestly, not if they're good or not, but am I going to use these now, or am I going to still then go, hey, check these out, and then next week you're going to see me still using the ones I've used since the get-go. So that's what's going on with that. So it's a little tough sometimes when I make a video like that, because it's very important to me to not only let you guys know that, but why. The why is, I think, sometimes more important than anything else. Why I'm using them and why I'm not using them. So, Robert wants to know, just guess we're just gonna do random questions about stuff. I like jumping around right now. It's fun. It says, why? Robert wants to know, why Phil? No, he says, Phil, why do so many people hate the Marshall DSL-40C? I use a JHS little black box in the effects loop. Okay, me too. I use that all the time, and it sounds great. Why do they hate the DSL-40C? Why do they hate it? I don't know why they hate it. Why would you hate a piece of an amp? I like it. I think a lot of people like it. I think, I guess if somebody hates it, I don't even understand that. So, you know, it either fits your artistic need to make music with it, or it doesn't. There's something about it that that doesn't vibe right. I don't know. I like it. I think a lot of people like it. I think they sell a lot of those. So I think that overall, sometimes it feels like sometimes, a few people, like with videos, because I make videos all the time, I feel like 8 comments negative can take a video that obviously is doing well. You could tell that a lot of people watched it. There's a lot of connection to it. It's obviously thriving. The content, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just talking about content. And there's 8 negative comments, and then people get hyper focused on this. And I find it's funny, the squeaky wheel, right? It's all, squeaky wheel analogy. It's the same thing. I don't really see what I would consider a lot of people hate it, or so many people hate it. That's not how I would perceive it. I could be wrong, but that's not how I see it. I find that happens sometimes when you do a video. A company will reach out to me and be like, I saw the comment about the person who said they hated the sound of the guitar, or they thought the amp was overpriced. And I'm like, yeah, they said that. I'm not making jokes. This is honest to God phone calls I'm on sometimes each week. I go, yeah, they said that. And they go, yeah. And then they go, they thought it was overpriced. I'm like, So I guess they're not buying it. I don't understand. They're like, well, and I'm like, people say crap, but ultimately that doesn't mean anything. We all have an opinion. We want to give it. It's great. So back to your thing. Few people probably don't like it. That'd be my guess. How would I say Julio? Julio says, my Marshall 40C has an awful electric noise. Huge zapping sound. That's not good. Anyone have a clue what's going wrong? I'm going to say tubes, because I always say that. It could be your tubes. That doesn't actually sound like a tube problem. That's what sucks. But, yeah, the tubes. Big Mikey Z. I thought it said 200, but it's Big Mikey Z00 says, Phil, question mark. You didn't do it, question mark, Phil, but we'll do it fine. It says, have you sold your JJ Jr.? I did. That's why I have this thing. So I have my Dirty Shirley Mini. It goes like this. So here's the deal. I think I told everybody this. Let's be very clear. I had a JJ Jr. I had the Pink Taco and I had the Dirty Shirley Mini. And my $1 million plan was to sell all three of those and buy the twin sister, which you cannot find anywhere. So I sold them one by one, but I sold the Dirty Shirley last. When I mean sold, I mean I didn't sell it. I sold those other two, the Pink Taco and the JJ. I sold those, and then as soon as I got my hands on a Dirty Shirley, the twin sister, sorry, or I ordered it, I would sell off the Dirty Shirley Mini, and I gave up. I gave up so much that I just said screw it, and I bought the I bought the Small Box 50. So I got the Small Box 50, and then the plan was, okay, what do I like better, the Small Box 50 or the Dirty Shirley Mini? And then I would get rid of the Dirty Shirley Mini and keep the Small Box. That was the plan, to focus all those little amps into one amp. It's not so much for size, just one amp. And I really like it, but I'm still torn between the two. So there you go. I mean, torn being I like things about both of them. But that's what happened with that. That was a great amp, though. It just wasn't what I was looking for as an amp. I will tell you this. Having the Small Box 50 now, in hindsight, I think the JJ is probably one of the best deals you can buy from Freidman, for sure. For everything I got out of that amp and everything you can get out of that amp, I think if you were, so your question isn't this, but if your question was, Phil, what's the best Freidman deal out there? I think it's the JJ. The JJ gives you everything you would ever want from a Freidman amplifier. A little bit higher gain, a little bit lower gain, a little bit of Marshall plexitone, a little bit of, a little bit higher gain sound, a decent clean channel. It's priced in a more realistic price point. Keep in mind I said realistic, so anybody wants to put in the comments that, it's a lot. It's $1,600, a lot of money. But not in Freidman world. In Freidman world, $1,600 is, you're just in the parking lot. You don't get to come inside. So, okay. So, Brett says, hey, been wanting an SG with P90s. Is there a noticeable difference between the Epiphone and the Gibson pickups? If I go Epiphone, if I go Epiphone, are there years and features I should look for and stay away from? I like your question, although let me phrase your question in a way I think will help you better. So the question really comes down to you want a P90 SG, and is there a difference between the pickups of those two guitars? There could be. I've never done really just an A/B comparison of those two guitars. What I would imagine though is if you bought yourself an Epiphone SG with P90s and you didn't like the pickups, you can just put the Gibsons in them, or Lawlers or anything else you want to put in those in that guitar, and you'd be fine. So I think I summed it up best when I bought my ES335, my Gibson, and I said I could buy the Epiphone because I think it's really good. I just wanted the Gibson for the collectability of it. That was what put me over the top between those two guitars. You could argue that the Gibson was slightly better or different or whatever. Those were all factors, but at the end of the day, I bought a Gibson ES335 for a great deal, and like I said, it's worth what I paid for it. And I'm sure if I found an Epiphone for that same kind of situation, maybe I would have taken advantage of that. But right now I have an ES335, a Gibson. I get to play it every day as much as I want. And then if I ever want to get rid of it or have to get rid of it because, hey, the world goes to crap, I'll sell it, and I will literally, worst case scenario, it's like I got to play it for free for however many months. It's not the worst thing you can do with your money in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, phone. There's reasons why Gibsons are good. There are reasons why Gibsons sound great. There's reasons why people want them over the Epiphone counterparts. For me, this is all I'm saying. For me, I'm not telling you guys what to think. I'm telling you what I think. I buy Gibsons because I know I will get my money back at every Gibson. I bought that Gibson White V. I literally, right now, if I offered it to any of you for what I bought it for, you'd pay me that. I know. And my Gibson P90 SG, I literally right now, if I offered anybody for what I paid for it, not only would you pay me for it, I'd be stupid. So I have to sell it to you for a little bit more than I paid for it. So again, that's one of the reasons why I did that. If you can find an opportunity for an Epiphone, you can do the same thing with an Epiphone. It's just I found those Gibsons, and that's what's nice about. One thing that's nice about Gibsons is the resale value on them is pretty good, especially the longer you sit on them, the more you're guaranteed. Well, almost guaranteed's a loose word, right? The longer you sit on a Gibson, the more probability there is that you'll get your money back out of it that you spent. And there's very few companies that get to say that guitar-wise. It's Gibson, then Fender, maybe, and then after that, everyone is just hit or miss, whether it's PRS or it's Ibanez or whatever brand, Charvel's. They live in that world. And, everyone every day is looking on Craigslist for Gibsons. It's just how it always will be. So, and then Joseph says, Epi all the way. Like I said, there's literally nothing wrong with the Epiphones. So, Alan Dean says, for the cost of the B head, you could almost get 2 JCM 800s. I have a JCM 800. I like my BE more. I have a Plexi too behind me too. I have a bunch of Marshalls. They're great. Same thing. Marshalls are like Gibsons. My 2061, my Plexi, the 800, my 900. They're all worth something. It's really cool. I'll tell you, in a perfect world, I don't know why, in a perfect world for me, I'd own a Marshall that sounded like that. In fact, here's what I know. When I say I know, I really believe this. If Marshall made an amp that sounded like that, Freidman would be looking for a job. If I was Marshall, and if Marshall ever hears this, which I doubt it, I'd buy Freidman. That's what I would do. I'd buy them just to get them to make all your amps sound like that, and then make Freidman edition Marshalls and let Dave retire on a beach somewhere and call it a day. That would be my thoughts, because I don't understand why Marshall's not making amps better than they used to. They're great classic amps, but we're buying them for the wrong reasons. We're buying them because they sound great because they used to sound great, but realistically, there's so much nicer things you can do with the amps. The thing that I like about this BE, which again, it's a crazy expensive amp. I'm not saying anything different. The thing I like about it is to get the Plexi to sound like that, I have to run it through some kind of attenuation, and then even then it's not right, and then put some kind of boost in front of it, where I can just turn on the Freidman and just get that sound right away. So that's kind of nice. But I'm still, like anybody, I'm still attached to branding. I like Marshalls because it's a branding thing. Yeah, John says U.S. guitars appreciate more than imports generally. Yes, yes, absolutely. With no exception to that, there are very few cases where the U.S.-made guitars don't have the premium put to them. And we know Japanese guitars and other brands or other countries as well can have premium to them as well. But it's also, keep in mind, we say U.S. guitars like that means just because it's made in the USA, it has that premium. It's not true. Gibson has an amazing resale value. Fender has an amazing resale value. They just do. It's astronomically different than everybody else, right? I'm sure I don't even have to do it because it would just be a lot of work to basically tell you what I already know. If you were to take all the guitars that are used on Reverb right now and look at what they're selling for used versus new prices, I bet you when you put it on a graph, Gibsons and Fenders would be by far on average getting more per dollar back that you got used and from what they were new. That's just how that works. Car companies are no different too. Car companies are sometimes like that. Some car companies have better resale value than other car companies. And it's not even always an indication of how good the car is. Just some cars have premiums put to them. So those two guys get a premium to it, and it's just how it works. It's like that. And so import wise, I don't know if that'll ever change. That's the $1 million question is, will it ever change? Will Korean made Schecters ever have huge resale value and desire like some of these other brands? I don't really know. I just know that it's fun to own some cool guitars, to play with them and stuff. And I know, like I said, I know what I can buy and have fun with and not cost me anything. This week I sold a Parker Fly. As you guys know, I bought a new white one and I sold my brown one. And, here's the deal. I bought my brown Parker Fly in 2009. Might have been 2008. So just, off a year. 2008, 2009. I bought it for 2008. Sold it to a good friend of mine. Gave him a smoking deal because my other friend gave me a smoking deal on the white one. Sold it to him for $100 more than I paid for it in 2009. So when people tell me, oh man, that Parker guitar, those are overpriced. Well, you know what? I played it for a decade and I made $100. And that's not an amazing return on my money, but yeah, it is. Because, I got to play something for a decade and literally it didn't cost me anything, right? You know what I mean? So same thing. Sometimes there's just, it's not that all guitars should be investment, but like I said, I have guitars that I like and I play all the time. And then there's guitars that I like, playing around with and stuff and just checking them out and doing things with them. This one's from Lori. Lori says, hey, Phil, if you are new to the electric guitars, what is your opinion, my opinion, on which pedal a newbie might want for the first pedal? There's a lot of great first pedals. However, a couple things is I don't know what amp you have. So if you have some kind of modeling amp, sometimes the pedals aren't really an important thing. So keep in mind, if you have a Katana or a Spark or a Line 6 or any of those modeling amps, I don't even really recommend a pedal so much. As I do recommend getting into those amps and trying all the different sounds and effects and amp tones. It's there, it's easy, and you can get into that. However, if you want to get a pedal, one of my favorite pedals to recommend is the Line 6 M5. It's called the M5. And what it is it has 100 different pedals in it, and it's not scary. What I mean is very straightforward. 6 knobs, a screen to tell you which pedal you're looking at, and all color-coded. So like all the delays are green, all the reverbs are like orange, all the compressions I think are yellow and distortions are yellow. So you can try 100 different pedals, and they're all, if you go on their website or if you go online, you can look and it'll tell you every pedal they have, what it's cloned after. I have a video on it, and I still highly recommend that. Now, every time I say this on the show, everyone always chimes in with the M9 by Line 6 or the M13. Those are the bigger units. So the M1 does one effect at a time, but has 100. The M9 does like 6 pedals, but 3 at a time. And then the M13, obviously the numbers expand. So the things, and all of those are fine. I'm not recommending those, but I'm saying is you can pick up the M5. It's very inexpensive. It runs on 9-volt power supply. So it comes with power supply. Very cool pedal to check out. But more importantly, it's not so much a cool pedal to check out. It's not very complicated, and it still feels like an analog type pedal. That's one I would definitely recommend to a lot of people. I use one as literally sometimes when I watch a YouTube video and I watch somebody and I go, check out this phaser. And I go, oh, that's a cool phaser. I need that. And before sometimes I go out on Reverb and buy this pedal while I'm in mode, I will pull out the M5 and find it and try to duplicate the pedal. And I'll go, wow, this is really good. I need this. And I play it, and after about 15, 20 minutes, I go, I think I'm out of that mood now. And then sometimes I'm like, nope, still going to buy it. So it's kind of nice that way. So Amanda wants everybody to hit the like button. And, thank you, Amanda. That was really nice of you. By the way, I don't know if you saw your moderator stuff. The people in the U.S. already got their moderator stuff. And if you're a moderator in the U.S. and you didn't get your stuff, please send me an email, because either it got lost and you didn't get it, or I somehow missed you somehow, it can happen. So just email me. But Ben and Amanda's are going to Canada, and because they're going to Canada, which I warned everybody, and I think Matt's is that overseas as well? I warn everybody all the time. If you are outside the United States, I will not go to the post office because I don't want to. My lovely, amazing wife goes to the post office for me, and she will only go like once a week. So yours got sent late because she didn't want to do customs paperwork. So there you go. All right, let's get back. Back to guitar stuff. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for a topic or something we can talk about. Yeah, Mike Young, I want to address this one because, again, this is, like I said, I like this subject. I hope you guys will enjoy these things. That was the whole purpose of these QAs. The purpose of the QA show, again, was I was making content, and content sometimes helps people. Sometimes it's just entertainment. Sometimes you learn something, right? That's what's great about all of us making content. Everybody's got something they can teach somebody. But sometimes the content created questions, like, oh, well, I understand what he means by that, but, and so I started doing this weekly, like, okay, well, let's answer the questions. And the idea of this show was I would answer all the questions of the videos I made that week. That was really where I thought this was going. It never goes that way. I don't think it's ever gone that way. But the reason I say that is then I slowly have hopefully turned this into, I want you guys to see the insight of not so much what I do on YouTube, because I think if you watch YouTubers, whether that's 200 subscribers or 2 million subscribers, you're never going to get a full picture if that's something that you're trying to figure out, you know what I mean, and what they're thinking and doing. So the reason is this question kind of lines up to that. So Mike Young Band, the Mike Young Band, I'm assuming is a band, so check out the Mike Young Band. The Mike Young Band says, it would be cool to buy and sell guitars and never have to pay for a guitar. I definitely think it can be done. I have literally bought one guitar in 10 years. That's an absolute fact. I've told you guys this many times. I have bought one guitar in 10 years. The reason I say that is, and I'm going to explain in a second why. It says, I definitely think it can be done. So let me explain it to you in a way, and I've said this before, but again, it's important you guys understand this. So I have some people, for children watching, some people when they get married, they have separate accounts. That happens, okay? Somebody, like the wife has an account, the husband has an account. Sometimes that's how it works when they get married. That's not how it works in my life. My wife, we have one account, right? She runs the accounting. She's the accountant. And so our money is a pool of money. It's our money. My gear money is separate. I have known my wife since she was 13. She is the same age as me. We've known each other since we were 13. We were met in junior high. We've been friends all those years. We didn't start dating until we were 21. I'm not trying to bore you guys with the story. I just want you to understand why this is going to connect in a second. We started dating when we were like 21, 22. And she's known me all this time. So she's per her statements, when it comes to all this, I've been a very consistent person since this all started. what I want to tell you is I've had some rules, and there are rules. I started this when I was because I was poor, man. Like I lived in a truck, I was homeless, like all that stuff you can think of. I mean, like I said, again, no qualms about this. I joined the Army literally because I couldn't make rent that month, and it was just that was it. I got to do something. I didn't tell anybody what I did. I just came back to an apartment where my at the time girlfriend, which is now my wife, said, and I said I joined the Army because we're broke. So anyways, my point to this story is even all through that, I had a rule, and the rule was I would never sell a piece of gear because I knew, because I've, like I said, I've been desperate. I would never sell a piece of gear no matter what. And so you understand, unless I bought a piece of gear. Twice, and I just want you to understand this. I have sold a car, so I've been carless. I hawked a car once and then had to get it out of hawk. And I did that. I would rather take the bus to work than sell my piece of gear, my guitar. So, and so what I did was when I joined the Army, I sold everybody. I sold a lot of my guitars. I didn't sell them all. But I put that money in an account. So what's happened all these years is we have this rule, and it goes really simple. It's like house money, right? Anyone ever heard the term house money? That's where I got the idea from. It's basically you get $20 and you go to a casino and you put $20 in and you win and you get $80. And then you take your $20 and you put it back in your pocket. In this case, let's say I hand it back to my wife, and now I have $60, right? If that math works. I know I said I won 80, so technically I still have 80, but let's just go with it. I won $60. And now that's the house's money. So if I lose that money or if I make more money, it was all done on someone else's dime. I've been running that system for my personal collection of guitars and amps my whole life. Even as my store, at my music store, I was running that same exact system. So I do exactly that. Everything is a strategic move to refine a collection over years. And so that's the way I do this stuff. That's why when everybody asks me, that's why I don't have great answers for you when you're like, what does my wife think about all this stuff? Well, she thinks I make a living in this industry and literally cost her nothing doing it. She thinks it's amazing. And I'm not kidding. That's what she would tell you. She's like, she doesn't see anything. You guys see me go, look at my new Gibson. And my wife goes, it doesn't come out of her account. It doesn't come out of anything. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even care. I think I've told you this story. A year or two ago, I bought a purple Strat, and it was the first guitar. It was a purple deluxe Strat, and I bought it from Will Cut Guitars. She was out of town. I think she was in Reno or maybe in Oregon. I can't remember. She was visiting her parents, and her dad works for companies where he travels. So he was either in Oregon or he's in Reno. And I used our money. I used our money to buy a guitar. And that flagged her because not because I bought a guitar. She's never, she doesn't see that. And she even called me that day and said, did you buy a guitar? And I'm like, yeah, because I actually exhausted my account and I could have sold some stuff. I just didn't want to. I wanted the guitar. So that's the way I do this. And the reason I explain that is because on YouTube, it doesn't present that way. And sometimes people don't understand. There's a lot to this more than just, this. There's a lot. It's a lot of work to amass a collection like this. And then once that you build a collection like this, it kind of like keeps morphing on its own. You know what I mean? You sell something, you get something. Like I said, I tell everybody, again, I'm upfront about everything. My customer, who is my friend, sold me a white Parker Fly for $1,100, right? I owned a Parker Fly that was a Mojo that I had paid $1,400 for new in 2008 or 9. And I sold that guitar for $1,500, put $100 in my pocket, right? Because that's right. And I took the 14 and I paid myself the 11 I paid. So I'm technically up, meaning I have $300 back in my account to churn. And that's if I don't keep the profit, which I do. So I'm up $400. That's basically how that works. The math is a little loose on that, but you get the idea. So to you guys, you see me going, oh, he got another guitar. But really, brown Parker turned into a white Parker in a better situation. And I'll continually do that over and over again. And not just to churn the money, but to, like I said, I strategically saw that opportunity. I can buy a better guitar or a guitar I like more. I can put money back in my kitty, right? Which then lets me go, okay, well, what do I do with that extra cash? Oh, maybe I'll get this amp. So things like that. So hope that helps. And again, I don't know how to make a video like that. So, okay. So, yeah, you know what? John put a comment. He said, the landlord has been behind more sales than I can count. Yeah, well, I've been there. I mean, I know I hate saying it like that because it sounds so, I don't know, but I mean, I think that's why, again, look, at this point in my life, I've been in business. Like I said, I've been in my own business, my business since 2003. And everything in my body says, I call it the grind. I get up and I grind, right? I tell my wife, I got to go grind, right? I get hustle, go. But in the back of my head, I still think like, yeah, I might have to sell all this one day. Like even on my YouTube channel, I think about this all the time. Like one day I'm going to do a video and everything's gone and I'll have one guitar and I'll be like, how to pay the bills or how to do this thing, right? So I think about that stuff sometimes. I enjoy this stuff, but it's what happens if you've ever experienced being super broke, no matter how good you think you're doing in life, your brain says that's always a possibility you can return to. I can't shake it loose. I'm sorry. It's like the trauma of that. And if you're in that current situation now and you're watching content like this, well, all I can tell you is, dude, it sucks and you got to work your ass off all the time. Even when you think you're doing fine, you still work. Joe says, you must have several guitars you will never sell. No. I mean, obviously, like I could tell you, like there's things that I have done over the years too, which I will never undo. For instance, like, there are guitars I have that are worth money that I can sell them, but I would never sell them without offering them back to my friends for the price I paid for them first, right? We call that the first right of refusal. That white Parker has a first right of refusal tag on it. In other words, if I was to say, okay, I'm done with Parkers, and I sell that white one, I would call my buddy and say, okay, $1,100 if you want it back. And like anybody, like a sane person, I'd be like, I hope he says no, because I think that guitar could go for 15 to $2,000 strong, and maybe even more. But we're talking about volatile markets. But my point on this is, yeah, so sometimes there would be a little of that. Also, guitars like Nathan made me that guitar, the Custom 24. There would be no way I'd sell that. I'd have to be. I mean, trust me, at that point, I think if I sold it, my situation would be so dire, I don't think Nathan would have a problem with it. You know what I mean? But if I had to sell a guitar like that, because I was in dire straits, I would probably offer it back to Nathan, either give it to him or at least say, hey, man, something. Pay my gas bill and you can have it or something. So yeah, so no, the answer is actually no. Is there a guitar I wouldn't sell? I'd never sell? No. Even sentimental guitars. It's not so much when I say I wouldn't sell them, I'm assuming you mean have to sell them. If I have to sell something to pay my bills, like I said, I'm a father. you know what I mean? I have kids. I have stuff to take care of. Everything will come first before the guitars. But I have successfully navigated not to do that all these years, so I'm going to assume maybe I can keep doing that my whole life. Gypsy Lizard says, I got to answer this. So what are the differences between the two guitars and the Parkers? The new one is white. That's not even exaggeration. Okay, so actually there's two differences. There is a wood difference. So the one I sold off is mahogany. It's a Mojo. Has nothing to do with anything. The main difference between the two, the reason why I wanted the white one is it's white, like Dave Navarro's was, which is every guitar I own is because some rock star had something to do with it. Like I have a Van Halen guitar, not only just because of Van Halen, but I mean, there are certain guitars, like I like my Gretsch because I like Reverend Horton Heat and I like Brian Setzer, you know what I mean? So I like my Les Pauls because of Slash and Page. I idolize these people. I love this music. And then I just want those because it makes me connected to those people in my mind somehow or whatever. I enjoy it. So a Parker to me is Dave Navarro. I don't know why. I always thought he was just like, cool. And so he's how I noticed Parkers. And so he had a white one and I thought the white one was the coolest. But the one that I bought is white. That's the main reason I want it, because the color. But the other reason is it has DiMarzio's in it. And it's a refined, and usually refines had Seymour Duncan's, and I would rather have DiMarzio's in it because they were exclusive to that model of guitar. And I think that's also very cool. All right. Okay. Hold on, I'm just looking for questions. Let me grab some super chats real quick. Okay, hold on. There it is. Okay, sorry. And then we'll... All right, we have the next question comes from... Who does it come from? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, it comes from Ross. Ross says, "Hey Phil, are Music Man Sterling necks much different than their USA necks?" Yes, they are slightly thicker in diameter, just like more girthy. So yes, in the ones I've played the Sterlings I've played than the USA models. The USA models seem to be a little thinner, not only width wise, but in thickness, just every dimension I can perceive a little smaller than the Sterlings. And again, that's just my assessment of it, but that's my assessment. Do I mind that? No, I actually like the Sterling necks probably a little bit more, preferably a little bit more. I'm not into super small necks. So I like the Sterlings a little bit more, although I like the fit and finish they do on the USA ones. That's some perfect ass stuff. I was going to say this, a bad word. Music Man, if there's one thing they can do, man, sometimes they can really dial in a neck really, really well. Neto Meadow says, "Hey Phil, I put a volume pedal in the effects loop. Can I crank the preamp for a nice breakup?" Yes. Does the effects volume affect the sweet crank tone? No. So what would happen is, what you're talking about is you put in a volume pedal in the effects loop of an amplifier, you crank the volume on the amplifier, and you start rocking out, and it sounds great. The only negative of that is you're pretty much all getting preamp distortion. So if you try to get the power amp section to distort a little bit or to overdrive, which is something that some amps will do, especially when they're cranked up, it's not like an attenuator. You're not going to get that sound. But it depends on your amp if that's okay or not. Some amps really need both of those, the synergy, not the synergy amps, but the synergy of the power section and the preamp section, both kind of driving and doing some stuff. But for the most part, I like it's putting the effect. It's no different than the Black Box by JHS. Put a volume in pedal of some sort in the effects loop. Essentially turns the effects loop into a master volume, even if the amp already has a master volume. It's a master volume, and it achieves what you want it to do with no serious ill effects. I mean, obviously, nothing that I've ever seen in any of my amps that have ever been a problem. Gear Sound says, "Phil, thanks again for inspiring me to make gear videos. Companies contacting me. Should I charge for videos or just make it in exchange for product?" The problem with this is that it's almost impossible to make money. And again, not that that's your goal, but you're talking about money. So as soon as you talk about money, I'm going to think money is important to you. Okay. If you want to make money, notice I'm not saying living in the YouTube arena, you're going to have to live with the idea that companies have to pay you. Free product will always turn into sold product because you'll need to fund yourself if that's your goal. Now, here's the thing about this. I will give you 2 cautionary tales that you need to pay attention to. One is, if you're doing this and you want to do this, is this something you want to do? Is YouTuberness, whatever that is, YouTuberness, you have to understand that money is going to be a better situation for you because you get paid by the companies. It's almost impossible to make any money on YouTube without a company. And the reason I tell you this is, and again, I don't want to be condescending in any way, but it's important that I kind of strike a very, very powerful chord in you. It's the average, in my experience, the average pedal company will pay like $300 for you to make a video. I make $300 on a video, I'll get about 50,000 to 100,000 views. It varies on the time of year, how much video you consumed, in other words, all these factors in how much I make on a video. But if you told me, Phil, you need to make $300 on a video, I'm telling you I need 50 to 100,000 views to make that $300 happen. And again, sometimes it could be 300 at 50,000 views, or sometimes I need the whole 100,000 views to make the 300. It's different. Let me put it this way. I've made $500 on a 50,000 video once, and I made $300 on a 100,000 video once, right? Depending on time of year and experiences. To get 50,000 views, I can't tell you any way other than what I've experienced. It's a lot of damn work. Like, it's insane what I do to try to get 50,000 views. It's a lot of work. And very few channels, I can't tell you how to do it. Just like Tyler Larson can't tell me how to make 300,000 views per video, right? There's no magic code, secret I can give you. Just like otherwise, I would ask a channel that gets a lot more views than me to ask me the secret. So the point of this story is think about this. If I can get 50 to 100,000 views, I can make as much as somebody that gets 1,000 views and just gets paid by a company. And that's what's happening out there. And that's fine. The difference between why my bit channel works the way it does versus some other channels, and it's nothing more than this. When I started my YouTube channel, like currently today, to this day, I own a business. Actually, I own 2. I own other businesses. And owning a business is hard work, but it also makes you not want to tolerate anybody's shit. Excuse my language, but it's important to come across the way it needs to come across. I have a low tolerance for working for somebody because I don't work for anybody anymore. I loved my corporate gig. It was great. I had a great 401k, and I had a great stock option plan, and they paid me really well, and I smiled every day because I was happy. Now, I didn't hate that world. I just decided to go this way, and when I went this way, I started working for myself. And you work for yourself, you have to work harder, you'll make less, but at least you don't have to smile because somebody told you to. You smile because you're actually smiling. So I don't do well turning myself back into an employee. So the reason I tell you this is that's why my advice has to come across this way. It's not smart the way I do things sometimes. Working and trying to figure out what you guys are interested in to get 50,000 views so I can make $300 is not as easy, especially since it's a gamble. Every time I make a video, it takes me a day to 2 days to make it, and I can make $100, I can make $50, or I can make $1,000. I have no idea what I make. And sometimes I look at the same scenario going, man, why don't I just take the payments from companies and just make, it's guaranteed money for the amount of work you're doing. It's smart in that regards. The problem is I'm not looking for a job because I had a job. I'm doing this myself, so I'm going to figure it out myself every day. So I tell you that you have to decide that now on your own. I'm just giving you the information. So I would suggest that you take money over product because you're going to end up having to sell that product if you're going to try to make a living doing this. However, if you are going to do this as a hobby, and you just want, it's great to get some free product and have some fun on the internet, I would do that. The cautionary thing I'm going to tell you is that wears off real fast, real quick. I think anybody who's been watching YouTube for any length of time can see how that road goes. It's, hey everyone, here's this unknown thing cheap thing, and it's amazing. And then that slowly, finally, if you keep going, turns into real things like, look, a real brand that you've heard of sent me a thing. And maybe you'll keep that. But what I've learned is that if a company reaches out to me, I can almost guarantee on it. I can guarantee this. If a company reaches out to me and says, hey, would you like to do a video? We'd like to send you this guitar. And I look at their website and I go, this is amazing. Send me the blue one. They're going to send me anything other than what I asked for because they got to send the thing they want to sell. So a lot of times the free guitar that you're working for isn't even the guitar you wanted. So I find that just be cautionary about that. Those are my suggestions to everyone doing this. The other thing too is also don't be delusioned by things you see. Like I have affiliate links and we do affiliate links. I do t-shirts, all that stuff. It's great. But I mean, literally it takes millions of views. I have 100 million views collectively across the platform, 100 million views to make hundreds, sometimes if you're lucky, thousands of dollars, which is mind-boggling on every level when you think about it that way. So like I said, go into it, but I would do it that way. But the last piece of advice you didn't ask for, but it's important to me to give it to you is whatever you do, please tell your audience what the hell you're doing. That's it. Like I said, some people will begrudge you no matter what you do. Screw them. They're assholes. The rest of everybody else, as long as you're being truthful with them, they shouldn't have a problem with what you're doing. If they don't like it, they don't have to watch it. And if they like it, they watch it. That's how it works. The only thing is you don't ever want to take someone's trust and manipulate it or ruin it because you'll never get it back. And it's an unforgiving, unforgetting platform. So, all right. Somebody's just talking about blue guitars. I'm sorry, caught me off guard. I like the blue guitars comment. All right, let's go to the next question. I hope that helps. And by the way, congratulations on making your YouTube channel. Like I said, enjoy it. And I say this all the time. Best piece of advice I ever got, which isn't from a YouTuber, but just from a friend who's also in business doing stuff. He said, build the company you would like to work for. I love that saying. I also say build the YouTube channel you would want to watch. Gonzalo says, hey there, Phil. My girlfriend bought me a PRS 10 Top Custom 24. Well, you're getting married, dude. That's how that works. If she'll take you, but if she will, you would, yeah. Okay, it says a 24 in faded blue for my birthday. Should I wife her up? Yes, of course. That's done deal. We've already explained this. Not because she bought you a guitar, which automatically makes her wife material. Not because she bought you a great guitar, again, also great, but because your life is guaranteed now that when you buy your next guitar, she won't say anything. There you go. You can't condemn somebody for something that you've already done too. So that's my suggestion to you. Do that. Trust the Legend says, hey, Phil from Bonnie, Scotland. Hey, what's up? It's probably rainy and cold. It's hot and dry here. My brother has a Patrick Eagle New York Plus, and I have a Reverend Charger HC, both great guitars for our similar smaller hands. I've never tried the Patrick Eagle New York Plus. I never heard of it. But I don't even know if that's a brand or if that's a model within Reverend, but the Reverend Charger 8C, that I've checked out. I enjoyed the Reverend I checked out. I really did. I'm still working on the Korean version, the newer version, Reverend. I adjusted it a little bit because I wanted to make the video. I wanted to get some other videos in as well before I release that video. But yeah, the Reverend stuff, I enjoy it. I think they're cool looking. They're fun. They play great. Great stuff. Rock Daddy says, I think he is Rock Daddy is responding to Gonzalo. He says, I think, no, or it just says Gonzo. He's talking to you. He says, she bought you a PRS 24. She's a keeper, but no amp, question mark. I'd hold the ring till then. Nice. Rock Daddy. You are what my friend is what's called a pimp. You're like, custom 24 10 top? Psh, where's my amp? that's see? Good on you, or bad on you. Depends on how you look at it. Hey, my dog just came in here. Okay, so a Gravitar Dardvark. What are my thoughts on IYV guitars? Never heard of them. So that's there. First that. I'm looking at their Les Paul style. I'm seeing what I would consider mostly positive reviews, and they seem to be compared to something like Epiphone a lot. Oh, I have never tried it. These IYV. I mean, so I don't know. I'll look, but like I said, I say all the time. I hear about a new guitar every day. So hold on a second. I gotta close my door because, like I said, my dog just came in and opened the door. Okay. Grumpy Mike Guitar says, as a VA medical worker, I want to thank you for many times you mentioned our vets. And of course, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. Like I said, I appreciate that. And of course, thank you, man, for, VA medical workers. Like I said, it's a tough gig, man. It's a tough gig. The VA medical workers, I don't want to go on a speech right now, but it's just important. Just because, medical workers are important, and obviously we need to honor them. VA medical workers are a different, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to cause controversy, are another level of that. Because I have done a lot of work with vets, and they're tough. I am a vet, and so therefore, I appreciate veterans. But it's tough. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pain there, mental and physical, and you're dealing with it. And yes, and my experience. I want to tell you experience I have. It goes like this. I was once at a VA hospital, and I watched them prescribe a patient. This is a true story. Some of you will be shocked. Some of you will, will already know what I'm going to say. They prescribed a patient a beer. I thought I was in a bizarre world, right? So they literally prescribed. The doctor wrote a prescription for a beer for a patient. And I was like, I don't understand. Why the hell would you do that? And they're like, well, he's dealing with all this stuff and this pain. And of course, he's an alcoholic, and he it's like you got to put out fires and deal with this stuff. And so I realized that day, like it was really a powerful moment where I was like, wow, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff going on here. So I know that was like an off topics thing, but that's my way of saying thank you, Mike Guitar, Grumpy Mike Guitar, for thanking me, but thank you back for all that craziness and stuff. Oh, by the way, did I just read that backwards? By the way, that was Buzz Wilson. See? Buzz, I just read Grumpy Mike's statement with your your name. So that was Buzz. Buzz, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. Sorry I misread that. Again, my screen was slanted a little bit. Grumpy Mike Guitar, what he said was, for the tone jar, and why not? Because that's what he always says. He says, I'm going gear shopping tomorrow. What? Maybe for a Vox AC10 or a Supro Delta King 10. Your thoughts? I have not played the Supro Delta King 10, so I can't tell you. I can tell you my preference would be if you gave me I'm not even going to go with that if you gave me a choice between the two. I have a Black Star Studio 10. I love it, and I did gear math on it, so I did the video of it. Some of you guys may have watched that. I did the thing on the Black Star Studio 10. I liked it so much that I just got a Vox AC15, and I thought, oh, that's what it's emulating, a Vox amp. And so I got the Vox AC15, and I've A-B'd them, and I love the Black Star Studio 10. So I would get the Black Star Studio 10. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you what I would get. I love that amp. Ivan says, hey, Phil. Hey there, Phil. Is it a bad idea to leave a guitar, could be an acoustic or electric, in an unheated room for the winter? The temperatures here get as low as -20 or even -30 Celsius. You're talking to a guy who lives in the desert. What I can tell you is that, yeah, there's got to be a point. There is a point where the heat gets too extreme and the cold gets too extreme for the musical instrument. The rule I like for my personal things, I'm not telling you what you need to do for guitars. I'm telling you what I follow for guitars. I don't put my guitars in an environment I can't live in. I found that works for me perfect, right? So if it's 90 degrees outside in the place and I put my guitars, I'm fine with that. If it's, whatever you can tolerate, keep in mind that the lows here are like 40. That's like the dead of night winter, 40 degrees. Like we're all like going to die at 40 here. So I can't take 40, so I don't keep my guitars in 40. I'm sure they're fine, but that's the rule I like. So if I'm storing guitars, same logic. If I can't live in that environment, I don't want my guitars in there either. That's what I do with my guitars. You can do whatever you like, but that's what I would do. Danny says, hey, Phil, I'm currently running a Made in Mexico Strat through a Blues Junior 3, the newest version, which has got the better volume control, I think, and a little smoother tone. And I can't get a great tone. Well, then you're host, because that's like the better one of the three. What other amp would you recommend? The Black Star Studio 10. And here's the problem with that amp for the Black Star Studio 10. I have trouble recommending that amp over the Blues Junior because I think personally here's my conflict in my mind for you on this. I like Fender more than I like Black Star as a brand. I like the Blues Junior because it's tried and true. I want to recommend the Blues Junior over the Studio 10, but absolutely I would never trade my Black Star Studio 10 for a Blues Junior. For me. So, take it where you will. The nice thing about the Black Star Studio 10 too is, 10 also, not 10 too, is that if you find one used, you can just score a smoking deal. They have crappy resale value, so they're really great when you pick them up used. So that's what I would suggest. But again, like somebody was just talking about, Grumpy Mike was talking about the Supro Delta King 10. Maybe that's a cool amp to check out. The other thing you know what? I'll give you one more. Cause like I said, Black Star Studio 10 is one I'd pick cause I have it and I like it. But another amp that's really cool is the Blues Breaker by Fender. Yeah, that's a great amp too. So you get some of the Blues Breakers. Shut Up, Let's Talk says, got a chance to buy a 1 of 3 custom, J Custom for $1,100. Think I'll be able to flip it? Thanks. Yeah. I mean, it's a, J Custom, so I'm assuming we're talking about a Team J Craft like Ibanez. Again, I'm assuming. So $1,100 for a Team J Craft Ibanez. Being a custom 1 of 3 is cool, but it would mean, the thing about, here's where it's tricky. The thing about certain guitars like that, like if we're talking about those type of guitars, like I'm talking about Ibanez's, made Japan Ibanez's, made in Japan, Jackson's even, the older ones, made in Japan anything really, ESPs, all that stuff, is the finish really seems to drive the value of the resale on those. So if you have a unique finish, you can tend to get more money for them than if you have just a generic finish. So sounds good to me. 1100 sounds safe, in the safe range. I'm not looking at it, so I don't know, but I'm usually okay with made in Japan Ibanez guitars in that price range for the J Craft stuff, but I also am a little weary too because I've also picked them up for $700. So I don't think it's a problem at 11, but I don't know if you'd make money. But could you flip it and get out of it? I think so. Mr. Fancy Hand says, "Hey man, you say Fender Player Series are quality. Okay, great value. Yes, 2 things. Are more expensive guitars a big step up, or do you only get marginally better?" Yeah, that's, what do they call it? The law of diminishing returns, right? I think there's a little bit of that. Let me put it this way. $5,000 Sir, because I like to pick on them, why not? $5,000 Sir compared to a, we can't say $500 anymore, $700 made in Mexico Players Strat. So, and maybe not even do that. Let's do the Sir Classic, right? Which is going to be about $3,000. $3,000 for a Sir Classic, which I think is a perfectly flawless guitar. Plays fantastic. It's fit and finished beautifully. $3,000 versus $700 Players Fender. In my mindset, without touching them, right? We're talking about just generally speaking. Do I think the Sir is better? Yes. Marginally better? Yeah. Because even if somebody says, "Oh man, fill those frets, fill this stuff," I'm like, yeah, those are better. But it's not like we went from unplayable to playable to plays amazing. We went from plays perfectly fine to really plays nice. So it's not a huge step. But here's the problem, and this is why I say this, because you're going to get a lot of different opinions, and none of the opinions, I don't want to say none of the opinions are wrong. Most of the opinions are going to be wrong. about how people feel about this, but this is the trick. Sometimes a guitar is just 1% better. You know what I mean? And it has a lot of money to spend, it costs a lot of money. It's 1% better, but sometimes you can get fixated and that 1% be everything to you. I've been there. A lot of players have been there. So that's why it's tough for me to say. Do I think you're going to get something a lot better if you buy something more expensive than the Player Series Made in Mexico Strat? It's going to be a little better, but it depends on who you are, what you're trying to achieve, and what you're doing. That little bit can feel like a mountain to you. And so you have to decide that yourself. But me personally, I choose to spend more to get a little better. I like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, but it's not like I think a Made in Mexico Player Strat is unplayable and not amazing, right? I think it's good, and I think you can get a little better for a lot more money. There you go. A little better for a lot more money. You have to decide if that works for you. Okay, we have Travis says, looking at a Fender. He's looking at a Fender. How much of a difference is a roasted maple or rosewood neck from a standard maple or mahogany neck on an electric guitar? It's tough, man. That's impossible to answer because it could be massively different or have no difference, and it has nothing to do with whether it's roasted rosewood or maple. I did a video where I took a rosewood neck Strat and compared it to my maple neck Strat. And in that video, I said, look, I'm comparing these two guitars, and I said, okay, look, this rosewood is much brighter. And some people was like, they didn't agree, and some people did agree, and it doesn't matter. The point of that is I have another Strat that has a rosewood neck, and it has different tonalities to that because of that neck, because it's different. It's a different piece of wood. It's different, and how thick it is. There are all kinds of stuff. So there's just differences. So only thing I can tell you is, if you can't put your hands on it, if you can't hear it, if you can't play it, then you just have to do your best guess or buy what you like. Buy the thing that you aesthetically like the way it looks. You have a better chance of maybe liking it. You know what I mean? But tone-wise, I can tell you this. Out of those, I tend to gravitate toward maple neck for a Fender. I just find it's easier that way. So I have a rosewood Strat because I think one day they'll stop making rosewood neck Strats. And since most of the rosewood neck Strats and Tellys were made just for Guitar Center, most of them, I think they won't make them forever. And then everybody will, I'm already seeing it happen now. They're going to slowly just start going up in price. And same thing, I'll have a rosewood Daphne Blue Strat that I'll play. And I think I paid $1,100 for it, new. And I think in 5 years, if I want to keep it, I keep it. And if I don't want to keep it, I think it's worth $15. And again, it's not to make $400. That wasn't my strategy. My strategy is I didn't see a downside to buying it and checking it out. So what I'm telling you is it's not really like an ultimate love of solid rosewood neck. It's not where I went after it. I just wanted something different and try it out and have fun with it. Adrian says, "Hey Phil, have you ever had a bad experience with Sam Ash?" Okay, bought a PRS SE 277. I don't know what model that is. I'm going to assume it's a 7-string. I don't know the 27. It says, from them described as functional, but it wasn't. Had to go resolder stuff. They refunded me some money, but never apologized. What gives? Well, the apology would be from an employee, so the employee's obviously screwed up. And that's not right. So you just tell the manager. If it was a manager, you tell that manager. And if that manager doesn't do anything, you call Sam Ash. His name's Sammy Ash. And I'm sure you can get a hold of him because he doesn't make it impossible to get a hold of him. So, and I assume because they all know that, as you go up the ladder of complaints, somebody's going to take care of you because they know you can get a hold of Sammy Ash. Anybody can get a hold of him that needs to get a hold of him. He's obtainable. Have I ever had a bad experience at Sam Ash? I have not. And it's not because I'm friends now. And I say friends, I mean, I'm acquainted with and I know Sammy Ash. I had no bad experiences before and I haven't had a bad one since. But it's not, again, the reason I'm saying this is not because of Sammy. It's because you got to understand, like, I have the one in Sam Ash in my area, and my first experience in that store was I made a video that's got like 2 million views. So when I walk in, they kind of know who I am, and they're always nice. Not they could be nice just because of my, I had a video, or it could be nice because they know I know their boss now, or they could be nice just because they're nice. I don't know, but they're nice to me. So my friends go there. I've never had them tell me they had a bad experience, but they never really say anything. They don't say how they had a good or bad experience. But what I will tell you is this. If they sold you a product and you had an issue with it and you're not happy with the resolution, I would tell whoever didn't take care of you, tell their boss. And then, like I said, tell their boss. And if that doesn't work, call Sammy. That will do it. That's what I can tell you. Andrew says, what is the one piece of gear you most regret selling? I get this question a lot, and I find that whenever I get it, I find that I pick a piece of gear that maybe I kind of go, well, maybe I shouldn't have sold that, and I sold it off, and I go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. What I realized is even buying gear back, like you sell off a piece of gear and you buy that same piece of gear back, which is never a good feeling. I find that I don't know if I regret really selling anything. I will tell you this. I will tell you if this helps. Since we're on therapy session theme today, I have regretted more rebuys than sales. In other words, I have maybe regretted something I've sold, but I have much more regretted more times buying something that I sold. So in other words, I sold something and then I missed it and then I bought another one back, or I bought it back. I'm not saying it didn't always work out. I'm saying that seems to work out worse. Like I have a better chance of if I sold it, I should never go back after it again. So there you go. Francis Chang says, and I will tell you this too also, Andrew, the older I get and the more my collection's kind of refined and gone on its way, the less I deal with that. So, because you got to understand, the reality of it is a lot of the stuff I sold it to get something that I was after that was either, that was more, harder to get, or it was, I was going up the ladder, so to speak, of gear, of guitars and amps and stuff. And so as I refine that collection, but also as I've, kind of cemented my as I get older, and I find I have to do that less and less. You know what I mean? Sell something to get something. Usually if I'm selling something off, it's because, I've fallen out of love with it and it's just not worth keeping anymore. Francis says, just played a Rickenbacker with Filtertrons. Really surprised how much I liked it. What other Filtertron guitars should I check out? Gretsch! For sure, Gretsch. I think there's Filtertrons in some Reverend guitars, which are pretty cool. And of course, don't forget the Fender Telecasters like the Cab or Nita with Filtertrons are pretty badass. Those are great. Filtertrons are just great. So I have them in a Tele. Fantastic. I have them in my Gretsch. I'm looking at it right now. They're TV Jones Filtertrons, but they're fantastic. Yes. Great pickups. Very fun. John West says, can I get a rate or what? Can I get a rate or roast? Okay. On my band's most recent music video, it's Heat Wave by Fed Lemon. Love your content. What? Okay. So I'll tell you what I'll do. There's no way I'm going to remember this. Let me copy and paste this somewhere. I'll tell you what I will do. I will watch it. And then I will tell you what I think next week. I promise to do it. And when I say rate or roast it, it's not really my personality to roast so much stuff like that. I'll just tell you what I think. How does that go? Good or bad? I'll tell you what I think. Brett says, been wanting an SG with P90s. Is there a no? Oh, we already did this one. Tampa Blues says, enjoyed the shows. Thank you, Tampa Blues. I appreciate that. That's really kind of you. Gunky Zip says, oh, okay. So Gunky Zip did a super chat, since we're clearing out the super chats, for someone who didn't super chat, which is very kind of you. Ezra says, any recommendation for a first gigging bass rig? I have a couple nice basses that I use in my home studio, but I've joined a band and the bassist, I need a decent amp. I really like the new Ampeg Rocket bass. Is that it? Rocket bass? Trust me, if you just Google that, it'll come up. Really impressive. I used to always recommend the Fender Rumble series, but I think the new Fender Rocket Basses, man, Ampeg Rocket Bass stuff is fantastic. I was at a Guitar Center a month ago, and I was in there, and I saw a bass, so I picked it up when I was playing it, and I plugged into one of the Rocket Bass amps, and I was so impressed I bought it on the spot. Very, very cool. Ultralight, punchy, great little overdrive tone, gives you a little bit of that old Ampeg sound, gives you a little bit of the vintage sound. Really good stuff. Obviously, you can tell Ampeg, which is now owned by Yamaha. Yamaha is definitely going after that Rumble market. I would highly recommend it. Dirt cheap. Why am I yelling that? Dirt cheap. Check those out. Great tone, great look, too. It's a cool looking amp. Cool looking, light on the back, light on the wallet. Great. Ray says, I bought a Nashville 335 dot gloss burst like yours. Is the equivalent to a standard. Wait, is it equivalent to a standard or is it cheap? Should I have got figured? I don't like the fancy ES335. So it's not about price thing for me. I like, same with kind of Les Pauls. I'm more of a gold top, plain maple top. I'm not into fancy stuff, fancy woods and stuff. I have a few guitars that are fancy, and I feel like that's enough for me. You know what I mean? Every time I get a fancy a fancy wood guitar, I've learned through just through the years, for me, it's never about me. It's about somebody else. In other words, I buy this because I think I'm like, look at this top. Isn't this beautiful? And then they'll go, oh, wow, that's a beautiful top. And then for some reason, I've convinced myself that's something I care about. But deep down, I realize I don't really care. So it's like, it's just it's a bling, the bling on it. It's not a big thing for me. So that's why I did it. So should you've got figured? I don't know. If you like the figured top, do it. Also, I find more times than not, quilted and maple stuff, whether it's on a neck or it's on a body, just getting some water, sorry, is, I don't know, it has a tone, more mids, more highs, and not as pleasing warm sound to me. That being said, I kind of wish, I like the dot inlays on it, but I kind of wish I had block inlays sometimes, but that's okay. Fine. Jeff says, Metropolis amps. Okay. Dave's main competitor, as far as I'm concerned, Marshall should be Lee Freidman. Marshall should be Lee Freidman. Metropolis amps are really good too. There's a lot of good. Wizard Amps makes a lot of good amps. I mean, there's a lot of great amps. They, yeah, and there's a lot of competitors for Freidman. But let's be clear. When I say Marshall should buy Freidman, it's not only for the sound, that's part of it. That's part of a business equation. Freidman's marketing has been flawless in what he's done in putting himself on the radar. The average player doesn't know a Metropolis amp or a Wizard or any of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like almost everyone's become a Freidman as aware of the branding. And so they sold like 20,000 of those Freidman pedals-ish. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of people out there that have tried this stuff. So it's not about when I say Marshall should buy them, because I think they should, and then kind of make a version of their version of the Marshall, which would be great because then you could get the sound you want. But it also, like I said, notice at the end of that statement I said, and put a little Freidman badge on there. Imagine it's like in my mind, and remember, I don't know anything with cars, but I know that this is like a thing with like the Shelby Cobras and stuff like that, right? Like I'm trying to get to the point of get to the point of a co-branding logic, right? You could put Freidman modified Marshall on a Marshall amp, and the average player would understand without hearing it what that would mean. And that's important in marketing. As someone who makes content all the time, it's hard for a company to convey a message. And so Freidman amps, most people understand what a Freidman is. It's a hot rodded up Marshall. The other guys that hot rodded up Marshalls, if you into hot rodded Marshalls, you know who they are. But people who are not even into Marshalls or hot rodded Marshalls usually know what a Freidman amp is. That's what I'm saying. So it's a dual thing. It's not only the sound, but it's also it's a marketing thing. And again, those are just my thoughts and opinions. I like to tend to like talk in a way like what would I put my money into, if I was part of that. That's something I would invest in. Smart, to me, it would be a smart move. Jose said, what is your favorite fret size for a Strat? Vintage tall, which is what they put on the new professional stuff that I absolutely love that. I used to like just jumbo, medium jumbo. Vintage tall, man. Love those frets. I would put them on more guitars. And what is my experience with Evo Golds? And any effect on the tone versus nickel silver and the longevity. Okay, so when it comes to tone and frets, here's what I can tell you. I really like stainless for how it lasts, and of course it's smooth, it's glassy. The problem is that I can't really speak about fret tone because all the frets that are different materials tend to be on the same types of guitars. So for instance, when I think of stainless steel frets, I think of my Parker Fly, the Kiesels, Strandberg. What else do I have stainless steel frets on? Stainless steel frets on. Like I have guitar, they're those type of guitars. And then so when I think about nickel frets, they're on my Strats and my Gibsons, right? So when I say like, oh, these frets are warm and these frets are bright, literally the brighter frets coincidentally are on guitars that are probably just brighter. So, I mean, that's what sucks. You'd have to refret the same guitars. What I can tell you, since I've done in the last couple of years, a lot for a lot of refrets to stainless steel, I'm noticing more and more, what am I going to say? No, more and more I'm noticing that I'm not hearing a difference. So perceivably, I do what a lot of people say. I say, I think the stainless steels are brighter. That's what I think. But I'm slowly changing my mindset to believe that they're not really doing as much as I think, because when I take somebody's Strat, like I did a Mexican Strat like 3 months ago, somebody had me refret it stainless steel. You know, that's what they wanted, so I did it. And I put it, and I swear I couldn't hear a difference afterwards. Like I didn't go, man, this really spanks now. It just really didn't do anything. So you notice that more and more. So, and Ezra is saying the Sirs that they've heard are a bit anemic to your ears. I wonder how much is stainless steel frets. I don't think it's the stainless steel frets. I think it's the design. I have a Sir, and I have a Ibanez AZ, and I have my Kiesel, and they're all that style of instrument. And I noticed that they all have the same tonality. Oh, my AZs have stainless steel too, right? And they all have that same thing. I call it, wait, hold on. It's funny how a word can change your mindset, right? Although you said a bit anemic, right? Which I would say means thin sounding. I sometimes refer that to as being bright. That is, both those statements are probably true, but I don't think of them as being thin sounding as so much as bright sounding. You know what I mean? I find those guitars to be on the brighter side, which to me has more clarity, and sometimes that's nice. What I find is, and we'll end on this note for the show today, what I find when it comes to guitars like that is I tend to gravitate towards the guitars that are warmer sounding. Like I said, I like them more. They feel more at home to me, and I like the way they sound. But I play better when you give me guitars like that. If you give me a Sir, or like I said, my Kiesel, or I'm looking at my room, the AZ, I will physically play better. I mean, it's noticeably, to me, I don't know about other people, it doesn't matter, because I'm my own critic as well. I can hear more definition and clarity in my playing by far. And I think, and I believe this to be true, that's because I can hear the clarity. I can hear the definition, therefore I replicate it better. But I don't enjoy that sound as much. And this is something I've seen many times with friends. I have friends that, man, they play great, and then sometimes they'll change a tone, and I go, man, that tone you have is so much better with your playing style, but they hate it. I'll leave on this. My buddy Matt, who's been on my channel, and you guys seen, he plays Eric Johnson stuff, very jazzy, very, very fast, Bonamassa-esque stuff, Yngwie, very smooth, very, very good player. He likes his tone dark, a little warm and dark. And I find that when he turns it up a little bit, the mids and the highs a little bit, and gets more clarity, man, it just sings to me. And I've said to him over the years, I go, man, that really sings when you play that. But he doesn't play as well when it's brighter. He needs it a little darker. It kind of helps him. And so it's, like I said, that's why you have to find all this, like the sweet spots and everything. John said, frets and tone, that's a stretch. John, that would be the last thing I would say. Like if there was like, if somebody said like, the wood doesn't change the tone, I'd be like, okay, you know what I mean? In what degree? Frets can absolutely change the way the string is sounding. It's very evident. It happens. It's the argument that I usually hear that makes the most sense is like when we change out the nut material. And the argument is never, I don't think for the most part, whether or not changing the nut on a guitar changes the sound. It does. A brass nut, a bone nut, a plastic nut, Graphtec, they literally have tonality to them. The question is, once you fret the guitar, once you fret and you don't have the nut in the equation, does it change anything? That's a different argument. But fret material does seem to affect the string. In fact, I can't say it's more effective than a tone wood debate or all that stuff, but it's possible that the frets, again, just like saddles on the bridge of a guitar, the saddles of the materials, they could be having more play to do with the sound that's being translated into the pickups than a lot of other things. It's possible. Again, like I said, you can say it doesn't or it does. I'm not arguing the quantifiable truths. I'm giving you the years of frustration I've had trying to achieve things by messing with them. So it's simple. All right. It's not simple, I should say. All right. Okay, on that note, we're going to call it. It was a long show today. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Again, if there was a super chat and I missed it towards the end, I apologize. I will scoop them up next week for the show, and I'll also give you the review of the band. And please be safe this weekend. Like I said, spend some time with some loved ones because not everybody gets to. That's the whole point of Memorial Day. It's not everybody. So please do that. And as always, thank you so much for your time today. To the next time, know your gear. Let's see if I can actually hit the button on time now. Ready?